Come along with me as I prepare Marigold's final resting place. So first I started by filling this up with 70% rubbing alcohol. I had just taken her out of the freezer. I let her defrost for a little while. And the amount of times I didn't breathe doing this because I didn't want to break her. That was my biggest fear, was something breaking off. So I let her sit in this, I believe it was about 24 hours. It might have been 2 days, but oh, her little face. And then I just cut out a piece of styrofoam. I ordered these pins from Temu and I took her out, which was nerve-wracking as well. So afraid of something snapping off. So I had this little square in the center of the styrofoam. I ended up removing that because it works for spiders that are a little larger. She was a tiny baby. So you'll see here, I end up taking it off because I realize with her on it, her arms and legs, or her legs won't reach all the way down. So at this point, she's very pliable, very movable. This is my first time doing this. So I had no idea what I was doing. So it was nerve-wracking, very nerve-wracking. But right here, she looks really dark because she's very wet. She will dry out. So I was trying to pull a leg out to kind of hold her in place here. And we'll start with the abdomen area. You'll see I put 2 pins on each side of her. It makes it much easier. So you can see how pliable her little leggies are. I was able to put her out, and I knew I wanted to position her in a pose that she would always do when she wanted to be held or picked up. And she would always put up her little front arms or put up just the one arm, and you'll see how I set her up. It's good to have the pointy tweezers. They're a huge help. To see there, put a pin on each side of her body just to kind of hold her in place. Oof. These pins were tiny too. Oh my goodness. So now I'm just pulling out her little leggies and positioning them where I want them. That one I was stretching out a little bit further because that's the one I want to have up in the air. Oops, sorry, it's a little blurry. There we go. I wanted her kind of spread out as much as possible. At this point, I didn't really know how I was going to display her. I just knew I was going to use kind of like the jar I had her soaking in. So here I just used the pins to help build up, going at like a crisscross V-shaped pattern, and that's how I was able to keep her little arm up. I also fixed her little front just to kind of look a little bit more realistic, because once she was in the alcohol, it kind of moved everything kind of out. So I pulled them in, and I didn't want to cover her fangs completely, so I kind of just brought them in closer. I would like to figure out if there's a way, because the abdomen looks full, but as she dries out, it shrivels up. It shrivels up quite a bit. So I don't know if there's a way to make it look full. So if anybody knows, let me know. I mean, obviously now I'm not going to go back in it, but if I ever do this again, I want to know what I can put in there. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that leg was high up in the air without breaking. So there's a lot of pins in the front. Probably speed this video up too. I just might. See there, I'm fixing them again, just so that they're more in the front of her face. And I didn't put anything underneath her because with the pins, I was able to hold her up pretty high. Just by placing the pins at an angle underneath her, they were able to make it look like she, was standing and everything. That styrofoam piece I removed was just way too big. There we go. I think we're almost there. Even so, with the pinning, when I went to remove her from after the drying process, a couple of her legs had kind of curled up. Thankfully, they weren't so bad that I could have still pulled them out a little bit, but it didn't really matter because of the way I set her up in the end. So keep that in mind. Like, I should have just put a couple more pins to hold the legs in place better. And none of the pins went through her. I'll say that. I didn't pin through any part of her. So here's the little base I made. I used these glass tubes I got off of Temu. Came with the corks and then different size tubes. There you go. And then I just did a little white rose and some little mushies. And I used, the base is from the Miniverse potion, Harry Potter potions ball. It's the base for the table, and I just kind of hot glued that on there. So you can see there the legs were kind of curled in. One of her back legs curled in, but the other one was sticking straight out. Like, yeah, see there. I'm like, how in the world did I manage that? But there we go. We got the little arm up. It's so crazy the way their faces, they don't look like they've passed. So that's pretty much how I set her up. I didn't know that there was like a special glue or whatever, so I just used the tiniest bit of UV resin to kind of hold her little paws in place, just so she wouldn't fall. So you see I'm using just the tiniest amount and not that much heat. Just bam. And I did her back legs up against the back of the rose. I did one there. And she's still a little loose on there, but like, if it falls or anything, she won't come off. I was so nervous here. I did not breathe that entire time. I'm like, ugh. Tight fit, but that's okay, because I don't ever plan on reopening this. There we go. I do seal it. See, she's not moving around, so that's good. Again, I'm sealing it with UV resin. And then I also painted the base a little bit just to give it a little bit more oomph. There we go. And there we are. All good.